Hi, welcome to Chakra Green's channel. Okay, today, oops, today is tomorrow's Mother's Day. This is to love yourself. That's what I'm doing today. I'm loving me. I'm so loving me. Now, let's talk about narcissists. Are you still with one right now? Are you broken up with one in between, trying to figure out whether you want to stay, whether you want to go, or whether you don't know what you want to do? Just know that if there's a fight, just lose. Just walk away. It's easier to lose. It's better than just like engaging or, you know, interpreting what they're saying, defending yourself, answering anything. They want to have the last word. Just give it to them. Give them the last word. As long as you have your mental health intact, that's all that matters. Because narcissists, they never ever change. All you can do is change yourself. You gotta cut these people off. All the manipulation tactics, and the love bombing. I think the best time to leave is in the honeymoon phase, But after that, you have to make sure that you block every other number that they're calling you from. Because if you're with the hardcore narcissist who's obsessed with you, they're not going to just take no for an answer. They're just going to keep trying and trying and trying, whether it's a month, maybe a 2-month thing. And then all of a sudden you see no caller ID number popping up on the screen and you're like, what's going on? Send it straight to voicemail. And if you see a text coming from somebody, delete, block. Simple as that. Because it's the same storyline. They just want to get you back, either by revenge or just anything, because they were never happy before they got to you. They fake their happiness. Their humor is sarcasm. And sarcasm really isn't happy. It's like being an asshole for real. And nobody has time for that. You don't have time for that. You only have one life. How many times did you leave this person? Count. Put it on a piece of paper. Narcissists never deserve a second chance, because then you'll give them chance after chance and you're stuck in that loop where your euphoric recall will be like, oh my gosh, maybe we could just go out on a date, or maybe just a phone call. Maybe I should just say hi, see how they're doing or not. Don't hoover yourself back in. Yeah, don't hoover yourself back in and put yourself in the same situation again. You got to immediately leave. It's chestnut checklist on the way out. Easy to get in, hard to get out. Because daggone well, they're going to come up with a concept. I'm sorry, I was wrong. Maybe we should just go out. Maybe we could just be friends. Friends? I'm like, dude or girl, you were never a friend, in my mind. Just keep your afterthoughts to yourself. Because I know you have a bunch of things to say to them in defense because of something they said. And all those thoughts will ruminate in your head and be like, oh, but he said that. I can't believe he accused me of cheating. Or, I can't believe, this and that. Anything that's in a response. Everything that you want to respond to, just take a pad like this. Grab a pen. Can I find one? Yeah. And write it all down. Oh yeah, you said that. Oh yeah. Just screenshot it and put it in the envelope. Don't just keep going over it, because you need those texts to remind you that this person is messed up, so that when you have that euphoric recall, you can go right back to all that stuff you wrote down. Don't throw it away. Keep it in a folder, and you go back to it, and then you look over, give it a glance. Give it a glance, and next thing you know, you're going to be reminded of something. It's supposed to hit you like, oh wow, this person did this? How many times? How many times this person lied? How many times this person manipulate you or gaslight you or blame you for everything that they do wrong? How many times? You write all it down. And I bet you that list will be forever long because, narcissists, they just do everything, blame you. And then everything that you respond, just respond in a separate piece of paper. Talk to yourself because this time you have to save you. And the only way you can save you is if you write everything down and you realize it by yourself. You don't have to say anything to the next person, to that narcissist, because you don't need anybody agreeing on anything. You don't need any people that, might just say, oh, maybe, enabling type people. Maybe you could just, maybe you can just say hi, maybe, because they don't know anything, especially if they're doing the same thing. Just watch your friends, birds of a feather flock together. I had to cut off all my enabling friends who were in narcissistic relationships over and over and over again. And then they just, it's just so draining. It's draining. It's toxic. It's negative. And they can't figure it out. You can't just spend oodles and oodles of time listening to them talk about the same person that they never left, And then they end up leaving, coming back to you. Oh, he was terrible. And they never listen to you when you say, hey, this person's a piece of shit. And they're like, oh, when they're with them, they're like, oh, he's cool. They don't say anything bad about him. But then when they break up with him, oh, you were right. Just cut them off. Cut them people off. Narcissistic enablers, I think those are just as toxic as narcissistic people themselves. Because if you're with someone who's a victim of a narcissist, they can be victimizing themselves in the midst of it. And they can't hear you, They will fight you or just keep the narcissist around. You know what I'm saying? And turn on you. Because that's what happened to me in the past, You have to keep it real with yourself and realize that you have to save yourself. You have to be your own friend now. You have to love yourself and have an understanding that this situation will never work. Never is a strong word. You should write it down like in a really big word. Never. It's never going to work. You can't change that person. Only person that you can change is yourself. And you have to do it quickly. And whatever's left over, the emotional lag, write it down. Hour after hour. Every time that person pops in your head, write it down. You're going to feel like a slave to the paper, but that's the only way I got out because I was in a narcissistic relationship. A few of them, actually. And I had to literally write myself out. And the storyline went on until I finally ended it. You're the writer of your own story. You can write this person out. Like, picture never having to talk to this person ever again in your life. You're going to be like trauma bonded to a T, And a trauma bond is when you're like traumatized with this person. And you think that going back is going to make you feel better. So you end up going back and then you end up feeling worse. Like a drug, that euphoric recall. Don't let it fool you. It's going to fool you and fool you and fool you. And it's up to you to make up your mind. You have to make up your mind and say, hey, this is enough. I've had enough. I'm finished. How many times did you go back? How many times did this person do the same exact thing a different way to you? And you say to yourself, oh, man, this. Oh, man, that. And acting like you're so surprised. Because that stupid euphoric recall has blocked all of that out, having you fool yourself into thinking that this person is good for you and that you're going to make a change. Like you could possibly, teach a person how to be a better person. They should have came that way. Good people are genuinely good, and you can easily see that. And with a narcissistic character that blames you for everything that's wrong, how are you going to ever get anything done? How can you focus on anything? How can that be productive? How can you will you ever be successful? How can that person ever be successful? That person is unhappy and miserable because they were, they chose to be that way. Some narcissistic people, they never know. They don't think about themselves. They're not self-aware at all. All they see is the other person. What a waste of time. You know? Why check in on a person you know they're miserable? Why even say, hey, how you doing? Just for you them to have another chance to, turn around and turn something against you. And next thing you know, you're in a constant battle and they're talking over top of you and they can't hear you because they changed everything that you're saying into their own thing. That has nothing to do with you because they're only concerned with themselves. They're entitled. They're grandiose. I'm better than you. Matter of fact, what I have to say is more important than what you're talking about, to the T. To the point that I'm cutting you off and I'm talking over top of you. You can't even hear yourself because all they hear is themselves. Who needs that? And if you're married to one, oh my God, cut these people off. They could be your neighbor, or somebody who's rude to you, or disrespectful, or taking advantage of you. And that's another video. Being taken advantage of by a person who claimed to be good and wanted to be your friend and, trying to help you out financially or, just in your space. And you're like, why doesn't this person leave when something goes wrong? Why don't they just go home? Why are they still here? And if you give a person like that a boundary, they're going to cross it and they're going to turn against you somehow by staying and lingering around. That's like the worst type of narcissist to get rid of. The kind that lingers around after they finish arguing with you, or you just done arguing, you just tell them to leave and they just quietly sitting there, not talking to you, but still there for another hour, torturing you with their energy, draining life out of you. You have to save yourself. In those situations, you actually have to call the authorities. You'd be like, I'll be right back. I'm going to the bathroom. 911. This fool will not leave my room. And the officers would be like, okay, why are you here? And they'll have this crazy story, blah, 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 whatever. But it has to be somebody around that has common sense. And if it's not a family member, definitely authorities. I don't have a problem with that, And it works. It works. Just remember that you only have one life. You have to protect your peace. By keeping these people away for good, Stop believing that these people or this person was the best thing in your life somewhere. That they actually loved you or cared about your feelings somewhere. Because that's not real. That's the gaslight. You miss holding this person and holding their hand and having someone. And you know what brings you back to the narcissist? Loneliness. Loneliness. And desperation. Bring you right back to a horrible person who never wanted to love anything. They don't even love themselves. Love yourself. Every time you think of this narcissistic nightmare, just turn back to the pen and the paper and say, what about me? What about me though? Just tell yourself, forward forever, backwards never. Forward forever, backwards never. Every time that person texts you from another phone, forward forever, backwards never. Delete, block. Delete, block. Delete, block. And sometimes you got to keep sending them to the voicemail like 100 times. And when you're at the end of that, just don't forget that you had to go through all of that. Don't forget you had to block this person so many times. Don't give it any hope. Don't give in when they call from a new number. Hey, how you doing? It's a long time no see, you know what I'm saying? I'm the narcissist. I just want to say what's up with you, know what I mean? Just to be in your life, be in your space. Don't give them a speck of your energy. Hang up as soon as you hear that voice. Hello, click, block. Hello, click, block. Hello, click, block. You know what I'm saying? It's that insane because they're insane and they'll make you insane. And your sanity you have to protect. You have to be the Jesus of your life. You have to make the moves. In this world, you have to save yourself with everything in your body, everything that you could possibly think of, and never, ever, ever go back. Don't give yourself the same nightmare that you already lived over and over again. The pains, the physical pains, the psychological pains. And it takes so long for them to subside. And once you become yourself, give yourself 30 days at least to yourself. And then after the 30 days, you celebrate, not to go back to the narcissist, but to celebrate those 30 days without them. Because it takes 21 days to learn a new habit, right? So you can make it another 30 days. Make it the rest of the year, please. For the rest of your life, actually. Because you don't need this person in your life, ever, ever in your life, to make you a miserable sap of sadness. Like they are. Because they're the miserable sap of sadness. Don't forget that. Don't forget who's the miserable one. And it wasn't you. You weren't unhappy before you met them. You might have been a little lonely, but there's nothing wrong with being by yourself. There's nothing wrong with being with you. You get to discover new things about yourself, things that you might need to change about you, with you. You got enough problems in the world that you have to settle with just you. You don't need another person. I mean, if you're on an island with this person, would you just take off and go swimming? Or would you stick around for another day? I would freaking go swimming. I'd definitely be swimming my ass off, doing a backstroke, everything. I'll build me a boat to get off that island. Because I'm not going crazy with that person. Unless you become a murderer. Because that's the end of that, All right. I think I spent enough time telling you to leave the narcissist for life and never go back. Stop texting him. Stop texting. Stop texting. That's how they bring you back, the damn text. Stop texting them back. You already hung up the phone. Why are you still texting them? There's nothing to talk about. Everything has been talked about already. Just let it in. Let it fade to the black. Fade to the black and don't go back. Because that relationship is whack. So, my little pumpkin head. No, this is not a pumpkin head. My little broccoli head. I added a little smile. I'm still working on it. He has a little needle right here, I think. Because he was just smiling from the bottom, I gave him some ear too. So he can hear me. This is my little hobby, So this part right here, I pinned these pieces so that his head would stay up because he was just like flying backwards. I had to keep his little fro sitting straight, And I added a little more stuffing because he was real, real loose, Real, real freaking loose. Okay, so I didn't name him yet. We're going to think about something. But for now, we'll call him Mr. Broccoli Head. He's happy now. Even though half his body was eaten by a dog. I saved him. He's alive now. Thank God. Well, the flavor of the day was strawberry mango. And on this Elf bar, the freaking mango takes over. Oh, this is not an Elf bar. Well, it used to be Elf bar. It's a BC 500. It has like no strawberry and just mango. Don't let it fool you. But it tastes pretty good. It's not bad if you just want a mango. But that's what takes over all the flavor. So, kitties and kittettes, hope you learned today. I did. Have a blessed day.